Derek, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Two poly men. Two
two
poly.
poly men. Okay.
And one of my poly partners has said that he doesn't like processing. He just wants to go out and have a good time and enjoy the time we spend together. But when I want to talk about things that are concerning me, he goes into this story that, oh, he had this past girlfriend. All she wanted to do was process all the time. And if that's what I want, then we're not a good match. He doesn't like processing.
Yeah. Yeah. I have couples that sit in this room, and I'm thinking upwards of 80% of the time, one of the things the men say to me is, I don't want to process so much. I don't want to do all this talking and talking and talking. I have a couple that showed up, a couple days ago, and they didn't go to sleep. They didn't go to sleep. They had a 9-hour phone call overnight and then came to see me in the morning. I'm like, you were on the phone for 9 hours? And then I said, did you learn anything about each other? And they looked at each other, and we all just started laughing. Like, in 9 hours, they learned nothing about each other other than keeping the defensive criticism struggle going. Okay, so one of the ways I tell a man, I kind of get a man on board with this whole vulnerability thing, which, he doesn't like that word. He doesn't like it at all, right? But I tell him vulnerability is how you're going to reduce 9-hour conversations down to 15 minutes. And then I just sit there, and even the woman kind of gets it. If it's the first session, it's like, she's like, well, 15 minutes, how am I going to get all my emotions out in 15 minutes? That's not the point. The point is that if you're not saying something in a concise way and slowing down enough to recognize if that thing you said is received, right, then you're not communicating, right? Like, so I tell the couples often, when I interrupt you, it's because you just said something very important, right? So he says something, then she says something, then he says something in like 45 seconds, and I could interrupt them probably pretty much all the time in that first 45 seconds. Because what they're saying is always underneath what they're saying. What they're saying is deeply vulnerable, always, except they're not saying it. Because we're too defended, and we can't say directly what we're experiencing because we can't find it. We don't know what it is, what we're experiencing. And this is a big one. It's way too threatening to look at the truth of, if this person doesn't respond to me with openness, I have to leave. I don't want to be in this connection anymore. That's actually the thing that propels us to keep fighting and fighting and fighting to connect, right? So Kim, I think the thing is to learn what you're saying, and then if you move on to the next thing you're saying, and it wasn't actually received, it wasn't, right? So do you want to give me a detail, Kim, on like what happens there?
Well, I think I'm pretty good at going into vulnerability, and I did. I mean, I was close to tears. I was very vulnerable, and his response was, "Thank you for sharing what's going on with you." And then a bit about processing. If you want to examine every word, or you want to, if that's what you want to do, then that's not what I'm about, and maybe we're not a good match. So it's like, okay, maybe that's my answer. We're just not a good match.
Okay, so what's interesting is if you're being open and vulnerable, something's happening for him where he's on the hook. He gets put on the spot or on the hook for some reason in how you're communicating. And this isn't about either of you doing anything wrong. Every dynamic between two people is really unique, right? So you're talking and you're saying things that are real and deep and vulnerable, and you're tearing up. It doesn't sound like you're accusing him of doing anything wrong, but he is not knowing what to do. And I'm going to bring it right back to, because you haven't asked for his help.
Hmm.
If you just start talking to me, and you know, we just met, and you start talking and talking and talking, okay? And you start telling me all about your life and what's going on with you, okay? I am a man, and I'm a flow chart, all right? You know, I take what you're saying and it goes into a flow chart. And I've been checking this out with men for like a couple decades, right? I'm trying to figure out how to organize what you're saying so I can have a clever thought to make you feel good. So you'll smile, so I'll feel respected. That's the process. I mean, I say it, it feels ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, it's just, I just feel ridiculous. I want to go way deeper with people, obviously, than that, but I'm just doing that. I am just doing that. I'm probably doing that to some degree right now, right? So there's something that you could probably say first, you know, and let me just take a guess because I don't know what you're talking about, but it's like, you know, call him Michael, hey, Michael, I just want to talk, and for maybe about 5 to 7 minutes, and I want to tell you a bunch of stuff going on with me, and I just want to like rest in your arms, and you don't have to do anything. It'd be nice to know that you're listening, but you don't have to answer or say anything at the end. Would you do that for me? Yeah, like that's a vacation, right? That's like I get to take a vacation as a man from always trying to figure out how to make you happy. If I can make you happy by doing nothing but listening and not having to think of a response, I'm off the hook, right? Try to not go over 7 minutes though. Yeah, if you tell him that and you go into 15 minutes, a man, I know our attention span is like supposed to be 7 or 8 seconds. If you go past the 7 minutes, he will forget what you said originally at the beginning, and he will start trying to figure it out again. And if you really want to have him like kind of devour you that night, every 2 to 3 minutes, say, "Oh my God, you're just listening to me. This is incredible. Thank you so much." Right? Which is another way of saying I need your help. Right? So can you map, Kim? So can you map this experience the way I'm describing it onto it, and see that he's in stress the whole time?
I hear you, and it makes sense because I guess I didn't really have a good defined point of my communication. I was trying to come to my point of clarity by talking it out.
Right.
And maybe even if I'd said that, I need your help, I'm feeling confusion about this issue, and I need to talk it through in order to find my clarity. Are you willing to be a listening board while I talk this through?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Now, I don't want you to lie, but at the end, if this is true for you, like, oh my God, no man has ever listened to me like this. This is like what I've always needed. You're a great listener. You know, and I bet for extra credit, and I bet if I asked you for a bunch of advice, you'd have really good advice. Right? Now, the theory is this works in dating and when you're feeling open with somebody, but this is the exact same path for when you're in distress in a marriage. Right? This is the same exact path. No, I don't care if you have years and years of resentment. If I had to help couples heal years of resentment, you know, like 10,000 resentments, I couldn't do it, right? I have to have them pretend they care in these ways to start. And then, believe me, an hour and a half into a session, they care. You know, it becomes so real for them, kind of reciting these things to each other, that it becomes their words and not my words. And it becomes really real. So, is that helpful?
Yeah.
Good. Now I get to feel good about myself as a man.